Are you enjoying your karma? Do you think you have good karma, bad karma? It can be, it's interesting, karma. I think it's interesting. So where does the concept of karma come from? It comes from India, as most spiritual concepts do, hey? So what karma is, it's the law that says what you put out into the universe will come back. It's pretty straightforward. Whatever we put out tends to come back. And this spiritual concept is also echoed in science. It's Isaac Newton's law of cause and effect. Every cause has an equal and opposite reaction. I think we're pretty familiar with that, yeah? While science limits the understanding only to the physical world, I think I know that it goes a lot further than that in the spiritual world. So talking about words, talking about energy, not just the physicality of it. What is the purpose of karma? Well, it doesn't really have a purpose in one sense. It's a fact of life, one of the few facts, and I quite like that about spiritual concepts. You can't argue with it, it just is. Doesn't matter what you say, karma will keep existing. But on another sense, the purpose is maybe for us to be aware of what world we're creating, because we create our karma. With every choice that we make, we create our futures. And what are our futures? It's only as a result of all our past choices is how we got here today. It's like, when you think about it with physical choices, I think it's real easy to see. Like say someone that exercises a lot, exercises every day, that manifests in healthiness, doesn't it? As long as it's coupled with diet as well. But it's very obvious to see someone who's running and swimming all the time is probably going to be fit if they've got a good diet as well, like with their food. And it's like, say, perhaps when someone gets sick as a result of their dietary choices, like illnesses from smoking or drinking a lot, it's cause and effect. Like, it doesn't happen to everybody, but it can happen, cause and effect. So how do we create good karma? I think that's the million-dollar question, yeah? I think it starts with being kind to ourselves. Because if we can't be kind to ourselves, we're not going to be able to be kind to others. And kindness can be looked at in lots of ways. Like, we may not all agree on how we define kindness. Like, somebody may think I'm being kind to myself from buying everything that I want. Maybe it is. But maybe that's indulgent. Maybe that's attachment to desires. Like, I'm not saying, satisfy your every desire is being kind. I think being kind to yourself is learning how to accept yourself and to love yourself. How to look within with a light of compassion and learn that we're worthy of love. So if we can learn how to love ourselves, all of ourselves, then we learn how to love others. So that's one way. Another way is to be mindful of our thoughts. Because our thoughts become our words, and our words become our actions. You can have a thought without an action, but you can't have an action without a thought. It's not possible. When we go about our daily lives, we are holding intentions within us. I know from personal experience, for many years, I wasn't aware of the intentions that I was holding. Like, my intentions included, like, I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to get too close to people, like physically and sort of energetically as well. But those were intentions that I was moving in. And so I wouldn't take the time to speak to strangers, really, if I could avoid it. And I did try to avoid it. So, And so yeah, I was just thinking about what I wanted, and those were the intentions that were in me that I can see in hindsight, completely oblivious to them at the time. The intentions that I hold in most days now is that I want to make others feel seen and feel heard. Further than that, I want them to feel loved. That's what I want. I really like the idea of people feeling good after I've had an interaction with them. Like, it doesn't take much to help someone feel seen and heard. It's like when we walk past people on the street, like, do we take the time to look at them, to smile, to say with our eyes and with our smile, like, I see you, friend, it's okay, I'm here too. Or like with a person that serves us lunch, are we really looking at them and helping them feel seen? Or are we just thinking about what we're getting from it and what we want? I know back when I was living much more selfishly, I just wouldn't think about these things. Like, I'd be considerate and I'd be polite. So I was always polite, but I just wouldn't go further than that to really try to connect with any person that crossed my path. And there's a big difference between being polite, not being rude and not making someone have a bad day, to really going that extra mile to try to create some happiness there, some joy, which is more presence than anything. Like, it's happiness as well, but it's presence, to actually see if you can connect with a person, any person in this moment, not want to be anywhere else. I've been doing it for a while now, and it brings me a lot of joy. And it's karma. Like, with the way that I used to practice law for a few years, I was rather assertive. And like, I had to be. Yeah, I certainly had to be with the work that I was doing and to advocate for my clients. But as time went on, I just toned it down a little bit and tried for a bit more of a collaborative approach, not like, I need you to do this, this and this, and like, what are you doing? To like, hey, maybe are there reasons why we can't do this? Could we maybe do this? Like, just softening it, and the results were different. Like, the outcomes perhaps were the same still for the clients, but there was an added bonus of developing working relationships because I was being a lot more respectful, and it went a long way. And back when I was working a lot, I wasn't taking the time to consider what thoughts were living inside me, what energy I was moving in, because I was too busy. I was real focused on my job and what I had to do for that day, and I just I forgot I was a person, really. I forgot that there was a lot more things going on inside than just what my job expected of me from that day, or what I needed to do that day at work. Like, we don't exist in vacuums, in silos. We bring all of us to wherever we go. Like, we may only show certain sides of us, but we're always bringing all of us. And so if you're holding on to some anger from the argument you had with your partner last night, and you're going about your work today just pretending that's not there, like, everyone can feel that there's something off, because you bring all of you wherever you go. And so we need to take care of our thoughts. Sort out those arguments, sort it out so we're not carrying that conflict inside of us. Because when we're in those spaces, we're a little less softer with our words, we're a little less softer with our actions. And we can be intentional about how we show up for our work colleagues, for the people that serve us lunch, for the ones that the strangers that we pass on the street, for ourselves. Like, these flurry of activity will keep happening on the inside unless we take the time to excavate it and say, oh, you're there. Let me be kind to you. Let me acknowledge your existence. Let me welcome you into my heart. Because rejecting pieces of ourselves just doesn't work. We have to learn acceptance. When we're kind to ourselves, we then know how to be kind to others. So whether you ever think about karma or not, you're operating under her law. There's no avoiding it. But I encourage you to be mindful with your choices. Because your choices of today are your karma of tomorrow.